Colleagues, members of the San Francisco State community and guests, welcome to the opening faculty meeting for the 2016-2017 academic year. This annual meeting is one of our few opportunities to come together as a body of the whole and share important information and to welcome new members to our community. During this meeting, Provost Rosser will introduce our new administrators in academic affairs, followed by Dean Summit, who will introduce the winners of the Distinguished Faculty Awards. This year we'll also be receiving a budget report from Vice President Cortez, and after that, the college deans and the athletic director will introduce new faculty in the alphabetical order of unit and colleges. Finally, we'll hear from CFA Vice President Catherine Powell, myself, and then close with remarks from President Wong. At this time, I'd like to invite President Wong up to the podium for his opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carlton. I will be really brief. It really is great to welcome you all back. We all have that energy and verve that the opening of the academic year brings, and I want to wish you all terribly fun and predictable and exciting and maybe not predictable, but a great academic year. It really is an honor for me to introduce Sue Rosser because she's going to go off now and conquer a bigger world on behalf of the entire CSU system. I can't tell you how valuable she has been to this campus in her role as the provost. Many of you have a deep connection to her by your positions, the fact that you're here and making great things happen. So I publicly want to wish Dr. Rosser the best as she goes out, to change California, and welcome her to the stage.
Well, thank you so much, President Wong, for those kind words. One of the best aspects of my new position is not only that it includes the fun things that I really like to do in terms of mentoring and research, but that I get to remain a good deal of the time here at San Francisco State, so I can maintain my connections with you folks, and I really look forward to that. It's my pleasure to introduce the folks that we hired as deans or associate vice presidents in academic affairs last year. Just as you'll see soon, we have a bumper crop of new tenure track faculty. Actually, we have a bumper crop of new deans and AVPs, so I'm very pleased to introduce them. First of all, Dean Alvin Alvarez. Alvin, could you stand up, please? As you know, Alvin Alvarez is, of course, not new to this campus. He was appointed the Dean of the College of Health and Social Sciences in December 2015, after previously having served as the interim dean and before that, the associate dean. He's been a national leader in ensuring that individuals from underrepresented backgrounds have a voice in the health and social science fields, and he leads the college's efforts to develop a diverse, talented, and critically thinking group of faculty and students. His academic work is based on and focused on Asian Americans, racial identity, and the psychological impact of racism. He recently received the Lifetime Achievement in Mentoring Award for APA, Society of Counseling Psychology. He received his bachelor's degrees in psychology and biological sciences from UC Irvine and his master's and PhD from the University of Maryland, College Park. Next is Dean Andrew Harris. Andy. Andrew Harris is the newly appointed Dean of the College of Liberal and Creative Arts. Previously, he was the Dean of Arts and Humanities at Keene State College in New Hampshire. overseeing 12 academic departments, a performing arts center, the College Art Gallery, and the Cohen Center for Holocaust and Genocide Studies. Between 1999 and 2012, Dean Harris served in various academic and administrative positions at Bridgewater State University in Massachusetts, including Associate Provost, Executive Assistant to the President, and faculty member in the History Department. While a faculty member at Bridgewater, he served as Honors Director and as founding co-coordinator of the university's undergraduate research program. He received his bachelor's degree in history from Pomona College here in California and earned both a master's and PhD in history from Stanford University. Michael Scott. Michael, please stand up. That's you. Michael Scott is the new Associate Vice President for Research and Sponsored Programs. Previously, he was at the National Science Foundation, where he served as the budget officer for the Mathematical and Physical Sciences Directorate. Since 2010, he has also served as program director for the NSF in several positions within the materials research and chemistry divisions, including the Solid State and Materials Chemistry Program, and the Office of Special Programs, where he managed all international and educational efforts for the Division of Materials Research. Between 1997 and 2012, he served as assistant and associate professor at the University of Florida in Gainesville in the chemistry department. From 2003 to 2010, he was inorganic division head and director of the Center for Catalysis at the university. Scott was an international advisory board member for the Chemical Society Reviews from 2010 to 2015. He received his bachelor's degree in chemistry from the University of California, Berkeley, and a PhD in chemistry from Harvard University. So all these California natives like to come back home, and San Francisco State benefits from that. Next, we have Guido Crix. Guido Crix is the new dean of the College of Extended Learning. Previously, he was the dean of the College of Continuing Education at CSU Sacramento. He was also the associate dean and director of the graduate business programs in the School of Economics and Business Administration at St. Mary's College of California. Crix brings a wealth of experience in international program development to San Francisco State. He has deep roots in academia, serving as an assistant professor of management at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School, as professor of management at Cal State Hayward, and as professor of strategy in the graduate business programs at St. Mary's. Dean Crix received a graduate degree in management from Rijksuniversiteit Ghent, the State University Ghent, and both a master's degree in business administration and a PhD in management from UCLA. Mi-Suk Kim, interim dean of graduate studies. Interim Dean of Graduate Studies Mi-Suk Kim has been a faculty member at San Francisco State since 1999 in the Department of Kinesiology. Her major research emphasis centers on the examination of sports and exercise psychology theories and interactions from a cross-cultural perspective. Dr. Kim's recent research interests revolve around how an individual's motivational orientations and perceptions of motivational atmosphere are related to the experience of stress and coping strategies employed to deal with the stress encountered in sport and exercise domains across cultures. Since Dr. Kim started her professional career here at San Francisco State, she's been continuing cross-cultural research between Korea and the U.S. to investigate causes of stress perceived by sport participants and motivational goals in a collectivist culture. Dr. Kim received her master's degree from Chung-Ang University in Seoul, Korea, and her PhD from Purdue University in sport and exercise physiology. Alan Jung, Associate Vice President of Academic Resources, and he's serving in an interim capacity there. Also, no stranger to San Francisco State. I'm sure most of you, or some of you in the audience, will remember when he served in this very same position before, in 2002 to 2004. He has also served as Associate Dean of the College of Business from 2001 to 2002, and most recently, for a lengthy period of time, he served as Chair of the Department of Finance in the College of Business. Alan has been at San Francisco State since 1990. Before that, he received his BS and MS degree from Berkeley, and I was very surprised to learn that both of those degrees were in engineering. I had no idea that he was an engineer by training. He then came to San Francisco State, where he received his MBA in finance, and then he went back to Berkeley, where he received his PhD in finance. And finally, it is my great pleasure to introduce Dean of Undergraduate Education and Academic Planning, Jennifer Summit, who will only be in that position for 2.5 more days because she will be the interim provost and vice president for academic affairs here at San Francisco State, and very happy about that. We were successful in luring Dean Summit to San Francisco State a little more than 2 years ago from Stanford University, where she had spent most of her academic career, rising through the faculty ranks there in the English department, eventually becoming the chair of the English department. She also served as director of integrative studies and as director of medieval studies while she was at Stanford University. Here at San Francisco State, she's been leading up the academic program reviews, as well as undergraduate education and academic planning. She received her undergraduate degree from Vassar University and her PhD from Johns Hopkins University in English. Welcome, Jennifer. And so she will now be introducing the deans.
Hello, everyone. And it's premature, but I'm happy to introduce Lori Beth Way. Dr. Way will be serving as interim dean of undergraduate education and academic planning while I make the move next door to the provost's office. Dr. Way came to us from Emerson College and before then served as a very successful faculty member at Chico State, where she also headed up their general education redesign. So we are delighted, nobody more than me, to have Lori Beth Way sitting as the interim dean of undergraduate education and academic planning. So it's my honor to present the Distinguished Faculty Awards, and I'd like to acknowledge the work of the Faculty Honors and Awards Committee in selecting these recipients. And they represent, I think, the heart of our mission here in representing the highest achievements in teaching, service, and professional development. So let me start by presenting the Excellence in Teaching Award for tenured faculty, and this is to Professor Lucia Volk from International Relations in the College of Liberal and Creative Arts. Professor Volk received her BA in International Relations from Stanford University, her MA in Arab Studies from Georgetown University, and her PhD in Middle Eastern Studies and Anthropology from Harvard University. For the past 13 years, Professor Volk has taught San Francisco State students about the politics and cultures of the Middle East, the United States, and Europe. In large introductory lectures, general education courses, GWAR seminars, and electives, she teaches topics from the politics of globalization and ethnic conflicts to the rise of political Islam, and most recently, the refugee crisis in the Middle East and Europe. Professor Volk engages students' diverse learning styles through a range of teaching methods, including group discussions, role play, public speaking, and improvisational theater exercises. By week 3, she knows every student's name and holds them individually accountable for their work with prompt feedback and busy office hours that show students that she genuinely cares about their success. One of her students said of her, Professor Volk is quite literally the reason I am in college. She may possibly be the best instructor I have ever had. And another calls her, quote, the best teacher in the history of the world. Please join me in recognizing Professor Lucia Volk as the 2015-16 Excellence in Teaching Award.
You get to sing.
Well, I will say thank you, because it is certainly an honor to be standing on the stage and being recognized for teaching, a mission that I share with not only people up here on the stage, but with everybody who's sitting down there. So thank you to the Senate Committee for selecting me, for the work you did. I need to thank my students. There is no great teacher without great students, and we have fabulous students at this university. And I want to, please humor me, thank my parents. They are in Germany, and they never had a chance to go to college. They don't speak a word of English. Diese Auszeichnung ist für euch. I want to acknowledge they raised me to achieve, and here I am doing what they set me out to do. So I'm really grateful to them as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a fabulous semester.
Next is the Excellence in Teaching Award awarded to a lecturer, which is Professor Kenneth Walsh from Criminal Justice Studies in the College of Health and Social Sciences. Professor Walsh received his BA in Social Sciences with a concentration in Criminal Justice from San Francisco State University, and his MA in Interdisciplinary Studies also from San Francisco State. Professor Walsh attributes his success as a teacher in great part to his life experiences. He began his career as a police officer in New York's South Bronx neighborhood, where he was born and raised. Professor Walsh then left the police to become a full-time singer and guitar player in rock and roll bands for 30 years. He's also been a licensed private investigator for the past 25 years. All of this taught him to communicate effectively with people of all backgrounds. He views students as clients and equals and deploys both humor and storytelling to make his lectures famously engaging. His student evaluations show that Professor Walsh is not only consistently rated excellence for effectiveness, but he also regularly earns near-perfect teaching ratings. He earned a 1.1 or under for almost 50% of his courses, and his overall mean score for 19 classes he taught in the past 5 years is 1.2. Professor Walsh attracts many students to the criminal justice major and has overseen the Student Criminal Justice Club organizing field trips to sites such as the San Quentin County Jail. One criterion of this award is the creation of an academic environment that fosters student learning, achievement, and enthusiasm. It's clear from the testimony of his students and the evidence of their learning that this is what Professor Walsh does day in and day out. Please join me in recognizing Professor Kenneth Walsh.
want to say thank you, of course, to the students. And the students is what makes you a teacher. And if there's no learning, there's no teaching, right? And the other person I want to thank is not here, Jack Curtin. When I was here many years ago at San Francisco State, I walked into a lecture hall and I saw this guy teaching, and in 2 days I realized he was putting words to all the music that was in my head for so many years. And finally I had words, and I paid attention to that man, and I learned how to teach. Also, growing up, let's face it, in the South Bronx, it was never a great neighborhood, right? On the other hand, I had great teachers. I had great teachers when I was in grade school and junior high school and high school. And they kept me out of prison and kept me from being killed as a teenager. And there's no doubt in my mind. Teaching matters. And it's so good to be a part of a college, the College of Health and Social Science, Dean Alvarez, and they take teaching seriously. It's all about the teaching and then everything else. And I'm happy to be a part of that team with John Elia. Of course, the chair of our department is Liz Brown, and she wrote a beautiful piece to nominate me. I want to thank her and Jeff Snipes for that. I read it every day to make me feel better. But I appreciate, God bless everybody, let's have a good semester.
Next is the Excellence in Professional Development Award, which goes to Professor Pam Hunt from Special Education and Communicative Disorders in the Graduate College of Education. Professor Pam Hunt received her BA in Psychology from UC Berkeley, her MA in Education of Exceptional Children from San Francisco State University, her PhD in Special Education from the joint San Francisco State-UC Berkeley program. Dr. Hunt has made special education the focus of her entire professional career, earning her master's degree at a time when very few teachers sought to specialize in the subject. She first worked in schools and then embarked upon a professional journey leading to a number of federally funded projects that seek to understand how students with and without disabilities become friends while learning together in school. Dr. Hunt's contributions to San Francisco State and to the field of special education are considerable and span almost 30 years. She is a prolific scholar with 34 peer-reviewed publications to her name, and she contributes frequently to multiple national and international conferences. She also serves on the editorial board of 4 major journals. Since the 80s, Dr. Hunt has been director, principal, or co-principal investigator for 12 federal grants and contracts from the U.S. Department of Education, receiving over $14 million of external funding. Her current research will help educators offer effective models for implementing systematic reading instruction to students with significant disabilities in general education classroom settings, with their GE peers participating in the lessons as reading buddies. In addition to all of the above, Dr. Hunt coordinates the Moderate to Severe Disabilities Program and plays a significant and much appreciated role in supervising student teachers and mentoring graduate students and junior faculty. Please join me in recognizing Professor Pam Hunt as the Excellence in Professional Development Award recipient.
I am deeply honored by this award, and I'm very grateful to the individuals who were involved in the selection process, particularly Dr. Yvonne Bowie, who initiated my nomination. But I have to say that all of my professional accomplishments, all of them, were done in partnership with my colleagues and with the teachers and the students and the parents who have participated in my studies, and I share this award with them. Thank you.
Finally, the Excellence in Service Award, which goes to Professor Grace J. Yu in Asian American Studies from the College of Ethnic Studies. Grace Yu received her BA in Social Sciences from UC Irvine, her MPhil in Public Health from Loma Linda University, and her PhD in Sociology from UCSF. Professor Yu's record of accomplishment spans 2 decades. Using mixed methodologies and community-based participatory research, she's led multiple research and evaluation projects focusing on health disparities in Asian American, women of color, and immigrant communities. She's published 33 peer-reviewed journal articles, authored 4 books, and obtained multiple extramural grants totaling $1.8 million. Her research embodies an ethos of public engagement, drawing on her work with the Chinatown Public Health Center, the Sisters Network Asian American Cancer Support Network, and San Francisco Hep B Free Project. Through it, she gives voice to the unheard and brings attention to health issues that are too often ignored. At San Francisco State, Dr. Yu is known for her collaborative work across departments. She has co-authored research with graduate students in multiple departments and collaborated with and mentored junior colleagues across the university. She has served on numerous university committees, including the Academic Senate, the Academic Policy Committee, and the Professional Development Council, which she chaired. Currently, she not only chairs the Lower Division General Education Subcommittee, she also serves as chair of Asian American Studies in the College of Ethnic Studies. Please join me in recognizing Professor Grace Yu for excellence in service.
Thank you. It is an honor to be awarded. I want to thank a lot of different folks, and first I want to really thank my parents, Frank and Wendy Yu. I know this is being tape recorded, video recorded, so I can send them to YouTube, so I want to thank them. And I also want to thank the College of Ethnic Studies, my colleagues, my faculty, my dean, Ken Montero. Our college is about service to others and service to communities that haven't been heard in academia, and I've been so honored to be part of that tradition and legacy. Finally, I want to thank those that I've collaborated with. Many of you in the audience are folks that I've collaborated with. I want to let you know that I'm going to have a party with my award stipend, and you all are invited. Thank you.
Let's give a final round of applause to all of the recipients of this year's Faculty Awards.
So I'd like to now invite Vice President of Administration and Finance and our Chief Financial Officer, Ron Cortez, to the podium to give us a budget overview.
Troy, thank you for the invitation, and we look forward to a very exciting year. So I'll do my best to give a brief update on the budget in about 10 minutes or less. So first of all, I'd like to say that things are improving at San Francisco State in terms of our budget situation, and I'll go ahead and just talk about some of the highlights. First of all, here's some of the things that we considered in developing this year's budget. Obviously, the theme from last year focused around budget transparency. So we've made every effort this summer to work very closely with academic affairs and the rest of the campus to determine and develop a framework that would allow greater transparency on campus by placing more information on the websites and having more focus groups, but being able also to provide a greater level of detail about where expenditures are occurring on campus. And I'll talk more about that in the presentation. We also have to consider enrollment. As you know, in the last couple of years, while our enrollment has increased slightly, our targets from the Chancellor's Office has increased as well. So that's a continuing struggle for us. Also, we were responsible for some of the raises that were provided to our campus. The Chancellor's Office provided us some of the monies, but not all of the monies, and we had to absorb that. Also, we continue to improve as far as our situation with our budget. This year's budget only used $1.5 million of one-time only monies to balance our budget, and next year we project a balanced budget for San Francisco State. We continue to work on funding one-time initiatives to increase our revenues, for example, international recruiting, And we have several capital projects going on in the university, such as the Mashouf Wellness Center. We're also now starting the LCA project, and we're also looking at our new science building. So this slide basically talks about the fact that the Chancellor's Office requested about $241 million from the state. Initially, the governor offered $140, and at the end, during the May revise, he gave us $153 million of permanent money and 87 of one-time. Much of that covers health and retirement benefits as well as our GSIs. But I think the positive note is that we continue to receive money from the state of California for our increased enrollment. This is going to be our new framework for our budget in the upcoming year. We're really going to work closely with the University Budget Committee, and also there's a Strategic Initiatives Committee with the Academic Senate, and really to answer a lot of questions that maybe people have had in the past. And so I think we're in a better position with this newer framework to be able to answer those for the campus. So here's in general what the way our budget looks. We have an approximately $351 million budget. That's with our general fund monies, the monies provided to us by the state of California. Basically, the revenues come in two parts. We have our general fund allocation, which is money the state provides, and then we also have monies that we collect via tuition. And those are the two main ways that we at San Francisco State University earn our revenue. That's why enrollment is such a key. For our particular campus, there's some highlights on this next slide. And basically, it points out that the number of FTEs that we had assigned to our campus last year was 3,836, and we received $142 million of state funding. This year, that number increases for FTEs at 24,099, and we receive $154 million of state funds. Much of that goes to retirement, health benefits, and faculty compensation and campus compensation. But there is some money that's provided to us. That's the increase in enrollment growth, which is about 263 new students that are provided to our campus. And we were given 1.5 additional money, which is what I would call more discretionary. Remember that number as I have another slide here later in the presentation. So in addition, we received some one-time only money that will be going mainly to academic affairs for academic preparation and for our graduation rates. And then our expenses. These are expenses broken down by the cabinet. As you can see, academic affairs is about $134 million, but that doesn't include benefits, which are funded centrally. That's in our university-wide. And benefits normally have a rate here of about 42%, so you can add that on to the academic affairs portion. And you can see the rest of the cabinets, like administration and finance, about 33, et cetera. And we'll put this on the web so everybody can take a look. Here's one of the things we worked on with the president in academic affairs, and we appreciate all the cooperation that we received in trying to develop a new model in which the deans would know their budget up front at the beginning of the year, including the projected transfers that will be taking place during the fiscal year. So these numbers up here that I have on the screen are the budgets for each of the deans for each of their budgets. Then the next slide talks a little bit about other funding besides general fund. Remember, our budget for our campus is about $475 million. About $350 million of that is general fund. We also have other funds which are listed across here across the top, and we'll be working with the campus to more clearly define these particular areas. This is the slide that I talked to you about earlier. Remember, we received $1.5 million in discretionary money from the Chancellor's Office, but then as far as this year, we're required to absorb $2.3 million for raises that occurred. So in essence, we received a deficit of about $800,000. But I think the good thing is the more that we delve into the budget and examine the expenditures, the better we're better to appropriate and to project where our expenses are to occur. And I think that that tightening of our budget will continue to be able to make sure that we do a better job of budgeting. We're examining the amount of money that we historically put for emergency expenses. And this year we were able to absorb that as well as to continue to drive down the amount of money that we use from our one-time expenses. So I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. Here's one of the areas you can't see the exact numbers except I put them in red so you can just sort of see the slight issue with enrollment. We continue to receive increased enrollment targets from the Chancellor's Office of about 1%, 1.5% per year. But the challenge in the Bay Area for a number of factors, whether it be community college, et cetera, is that it's a challenge for us, and it's a challenge for other universities to meet those targets as well. The thing that we really want to keep our focus on here is because, well, the Chancellor's Office gives us money for the new enrollment, they don't give us the tuition amount. So if we don't get the new students, we don't collect the tuition, and that's money we sort of would have available for our campus. So it's an important number, and we track that very closely. The other book I'll be putting out this year, our office will be putting out, is the Capital Improvement Project, so that the campus can visibly see all the projects that are going on the campus. I know you can see a number of them out there, and we'll be disclosing all the projects that we are working on, and independent of its source. So we're doing it for housing, for out of general fund money, whatever funding will all be incorporated in this book so people can see the plan and see what we have in the future. Some that are of particular note for the campus, some exciting things, of course, is the Mashouf building, the Mashouf Wellness Center, $87.5 million building, still on track. I believe the opening date or the date of completion is about May of 2017. Here's a picture on the wall. There's another one. So you can see some construction. This is 100% funded by student fees, and so we're excited about that. The other project that we have is the LCA, Creative Arts Phase 1, we call this, and this is actually being funded by the Chancellor's Office, and so they have a project team working with the academic affairs and LCA staff to scope the building. We received architectural fees money to pay for the architects this past year, and in fiscal year 16-17, near the end, we should be receiving construction money for this as well. So that's exciting. And that project is scheduled to occur right near the Tapia Triangle. And finally, there's a project team looking at the replacement of the new science building. And so we're looking at alternative ways of funding this particular building, but right now this is in the scoping phase as well. So there's a lot more to the budget, and I'll be doing other presentations for the Academic Affairs, or for the Academic Senate Strategic Initiatives Committee, the University Budget Committee. And if you would like me to come give a presentation somewhere you give me a call, I'd be more than happy to do so. But I think we look fiscally, we're in good shape and moving forward, and hopefully our structure can support President Wong's vision for the campus in working forward. So we look forward to a great year ahead, and thank you for, Troy, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Now we've hit that point in the agenda that we've all been waiting for, meeting our new colleagues. Without any further ado, I would like to invite Athletic Director Charles Guthrie up to the podium to introduce his new faculty.
All right. Thanks, Troy. All right. So, just to piggyback on Ron, we're delighted in athletics. Being in NCAA Division II, it's all about life in the balance, academics and athletics. But the one point we have is we have about 280 student athletes that are full-time enrollment. So we'll continue to drive that guarantee enrollment for San Francisco State. So that's important. The next piece, before we introduce our two faculty members, I'd like to just touch on, what athletics really is here at San Francisco State. We look at it as an enhancement to the academic curriculum, producing leaders, teamwork, and also time management. So our athletes are not just running around in the field. We're really in tune with the academic mission of the university. And just two highlights real quick. Last year, we had 56 student athletes with a 3.4 GPA, which was the highest in our history of our program for the conference. And we also, out of the 280 student athletes we have about 130, or nearly half of our program, that has a 3.0 in the classroom. So our coaches and academic advisors are doing a great job making sure our students are on track towards graduation. Championships are important, but we're here to walk out of here with a degree, so that's important to us. So now, without further ado, I'll introduce our two faculty members. We have Javier Ayala Hill. Is Javier here? All right. Javier is the new men's soccer coach, and he's off to a great start. He's a graduate of Cal, and he's right here from a local product, East Palo Alto. And we're really excited about Javier. He graduated in sociology at Cal, one of the most esteemed programs in the country. And he's doing a great job, fantastic job. So Javier Ayala Hill. All right. Next up, women's volleyball, we have Matt Hoffman. So Matt Hoffman. Matt arrived, and he's got to get to practice, so he wants me to move here. So, but Matt came to us from Wichita State, one of the most successful mid-major Division I programs in the country. When we interviewed Matt, he said, "I tell you how we're going to do. Ask Kansas State when we knocked them off in the first round of the NCAA championships, what we're going to do." So really excited about Matt. Comes to us from Wichita State, and he's also a CSU graduate, graduated from San Jose State University. So Matt Hoffman. And now I'd like to bring up Dean Linda Oubre from the College of Business. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Please join me in welcoming the 11 new faculty from the College of Business. I see most of them are sitting on this side of the room. Please stand as I introduce you. Shin Chu Chow. Okay, she's not here. She joins the accounting department. Is she here? Oh. She joins the accounting department after having earned her PhD from the University of Texas, Dallas. Her primary research interest is in the interaction between corporate structure and accounting information. Si Han, is she here? Si Han has worked in both industry and academia since earning her PhD from the University of Washington. She will be joining the finance department, where she will continue her research on sovereign wealth fund investments. Sue Han, who likes to be called Snow, I saw her over here. Snow earned her PhD from the University of Georgia earlier this spring. She joins our finance department, where she will continue her research on empirical asset pricing and corporate governance. Sergey Lebedev, I think he's in class, he told me. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. Sergey joins International Business Department after recently earning his PhD at the University of Texas, Dallas. His research interests include institutions, strategic networks, and political ties. Chen Wei Li, who's over here. Chen Wei joins the management department after 3 years teaching at Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. She earned her PhD from the University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa, and her research interests include global leadership and cross-cultural management. Sepp Modric. Sepp joins the Big Data Cluster, a joint appointment in the Health Equity Institute and Economics Department. After earning her PhD from UC Berkeley and completing a postdoctoral fellowship in general medicine disciplines at Stanford University, her primary research interest is in public health. Lufei Wan joins the accounting department after having earned her PhD at Carnegie Mellon University. Her research interests include accounting standards, accounting conservatism, and executive compensation. Nasir Saraspi, is Nasir here? Nasir joins our Information Systems Department after earning his PhD from HEC Montreal, which is the business school at the University of Montreal. His research interest includes organizational and behavioral information systems. Manali Sharifan, I don't think she's here. She earned her PhD from the University of Alberta in Edmonton, Canada. She joins our management department, where she will continue her research on entrepreneurship and sustainability. Oscar Stewart. Oscar also joins our management department after earning his PhD from the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. In his research, he considers how organizations contribute to shaping economic, environmental, political, and social outcomes. And finally, Yi Zhao. who joins our finance department after teaching at Florida State University for 4 years. She earned her PhD from UCLA, and her research interests include empirical asset pricing, derivatives, and credit risk. Please join me again in welcoming the faculty from the College of Business. Thank you. And I would now like to introduce Dean Judith Munter from the Graduate School of Education.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to introduce two new faculty members from the Graduate College of Education here with us today. First, I'd like to begin by introducing Dr. Brad Fogel. Dr. Fogel is here with us today. Remain standing, please. Dr. Fogel is one of our new tenure-track faculty members in a joint position linking two academic departments in the Graduate College of Education, elementary education and secondary education. Dr. Fogel has a PhD in teacher education and curriculum from Stanford University, a master's degree in history from the University of Montana, bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin. He comes to us with several peer-reviewed, renowned publications and has been director and leader of programs in research and practice with Stanford's History Education Group and Teacher Education Program. I'm also pleased to tell you that Brad has been a middle school teacher both in California and in Chicago, and he earned his teaching credential right here at SF State. Please join me in welcoming Brad. Thank you, Brad. Next, I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Ting Su. Please stand so we can celebrate you. Dr. Su is a new tenure-track faculty member in the Department of Special Education and Communicative Disorders. Dr. Su earned her PhD in special education from our very own joint doctoral program in collaboration with UC Berkeley. She also has a credential in orientation and mobility, which she earned here at SF State. She has a master's degree from the University of Arizona and a bachelor's degree in health studies from Boston University. Dr. Su has extensive experience as a consultant, a trainer, scholar, and expert practitioner in her work with the visually impaired. She comes to us also with several peer-reviewed publications and numerous awards, including the 2015 California Distinguished Teacher Award. She recently has been named to the executive board of the San Francisco Lighthouse for the Blind. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ting Su. Thank you. I'm now pleased to introduce my colleague, Dr. Kenneth Montero, Dean of the College of Ethnic Studies.
Thank you, Dean Munter. We have fun coming after each other for reasons that... Good afternoon. With a few words but infinite enthusiasm, the nation's first and only College of Ethnic Studies welcomes 3 talented scholar activists and introduces them to the hundreds of equally talented, committed colleagues that are part of their new family. When I call you, please stand. I believe, though, Dr. Melissa Guzman, and she may not be back from a conference that she was presenting at, but we're going to welcome her enthusiastically. Earned her PhD in sociology at the University of California, Santa Barbara. Her areas of expertise include criminal justice, immigration, race and religion. Her most recent manuscript, Spiritual Citizenship, Illegality and the Religious Lives of Mexican and Central American Immigrants, powerfully examines the intersection of Latinx experience. Dr. Guzman's hire intentionally strengthens our longstanding partnership with the Criminal Justice Department. Dr. Maria Ifateo Flannery, informally sometimes known as Ife, earned her PhD in African American Studies from Temple University, the first and a highly esteemed PhD program in that field. A proud Louisiana native, she transplanted to study the psychological, ideological, and pragmatic orientations of people across the African diaspora. One of her more recent publications on the repeal of the Voting Rights Act and the breadth of the long counter-revolution demonstrates how her deep thinking on African and revolutionary cosmology is linked to practical issues of the day. Dr. Daniela Wright. She also earned her PhD from the historic Temple University African American Studies Department. Combined with her master's in English and African American literature, she strengthens our literature and humanities offerings. As one of several of her latest manuscripts for submission illustrates, titled Africana Women Are, capitalized, Home Place, Recentering Africana Women as Vehicles of Liberation, you can see that she too links the need for new epistemologies and framings that are attached to real-world liberation. Both Drs. Flannery and Wright were intentionally hired to contribute to an existing strength, our leadership in womanist studies. Individually and collectively, these three will contribute to transformative change in our San Francisco State Village, so please welcome the College of Ethnic Studies' newest additions to our family. I yield the podium to my friend and colleague, Dean Alvarez.
Thank you, Dean Montero. The mission of the College of Health and Social Sciences is to help prepare students to solve some of the most pressing and enduring issues facing society. And critical to that mission are the 15 faculty that I'd like to introduce to you today. Now, typically I do try to insert a little fun fact about each one of my faculty members, but given the time press that we're in, you will have to take my word for it that they are indeed fun people. So if you could please rise, Elif Balin. Elif joins the Department of Counseling with her doctorate in counselor education and supervision, with a graduate minor in women's studies from Pennsylvania State University. She is a former professional school counselor in both middle and high school settings within international K-12 settings. Elif is interested in the ways that recent immigrants and international students navigate their career development in the context of cultural mobility. Welcome, Elif. Lara Cushing. Lara joins the Department of Health Education with a specialization in environmental health and justice. Dr. Cushing received her PhD in energy and resources from UC Berkeley with an expertise in social epidemiology, geospatial analysis, and environmental justice. Her research examines the relationship between social inequality and environmental quality. Welcome, Lara. Jennifer Daubenmeier. Jennifer Daubenmeier received her doctorate in social psychology at the University of California, Berkeley. She comes to the Department of Health Education from the Department of Medicine at the Osher Center for Integrative Medicine at UCSF. For the past 15 years, she has studied the impact of Eastern mind-body healing practices, including meditation and yoga, on psychological well-being and physical health outcomes. In the fall, she'll be teaching a holistic health studies course and an Introduction to Asian Health Perspectives course. Welcome, Jennifer. Valerie Francisco Menchavez. Valerie joins the Department of Sociology and Sexuality Studies with her doctorate from City University of New York, the Graduate Center. Her current book project explores the dynamics of gender and technology of care work in Filipino transnational families. More broadly, she is interested in global and transnational sociology, migration and immigration studies, gender and the family, and transnational social movements with regard to migrant workers. But most importantly, she is a proud alumni of San Francisco State University, graduating from the very department she is coming back to after a decade away. Welcome home, Valerie. Now, if you're on campus and someone whips by you in a scooter, it may very well be Susanna Jones, the new director of the School of Social Work. She is also a product of the CSU with undergraduate degrees from Cal State Northridge and her MSW from San Jose State University. Dr. Jones completed her PhD in social welfare with a certificate in women's studies from the City University of New York Graduate Center. Her most recent scholarship examines the intersections of social policy, social work practice, feminism, and justice surrounding constructs of citizenship, immigrants, and immigration policy and practice. Welcome, Susanna. Jung Yoon Kim. Having worked for a number of years as an oncology and hematology nurse in Korea, Jung Yoon Kim comes to the School of Nursing with her PhD from the University of California, San Francisco. Her research interest mainly lies in symptom clusters and symptom management and improving the quality of life of cancer patients. Welcome, Jung Yoon. Ji-Hun Lee. Dr. Lee joins the Department of Kinesiology with her doctorate in physical education, teacher education, and a concentration in adapted physical activity education from Ohio State University. Her research area includes enhancing motor skills and health-related quality of life of individuals with disabilities through physical activity, as well as pre- and in-service teacher development for those teaching APE. Welcome, Ji-Hun. Kent Lorenz. Dr. Lorenz comes to the Department of Kinesiology with a PhD in physical education and a graduate certificate in statistics from Arizona State University. His research interests are centered around creating positive environments for physical education and physical activity in schools. During the upcoming fall semester, he'll be teaching health-related fitness and wellness and elementary school physical education. Welcome, Kent. Dr. Marla Ramirez, or not. Let's go to Dr. David Rebinal. Dr. Rebinal couldn't join us. He's teaching class right now, but let me say, Dr. Rebinal comes to health education with his Doctor of Public Health from the University of California, Berkeley, with a focus on social epidemiology and community development. He is interested in how immigrant political engagement serves as a health promotion intervention and is currently examining the role of racial residential segregation, social capital, and political participation on the mental health status of Asian Americans in California. Welcome, David. Now let's go to Dr. Ramirez, who also couldn't join us because she's in class as well. Dr. Ramirez joins the Department of Sociology and Sexuality Studies with a doctorate in Chicana and Chicano studies and an emphasis in feminist studies from UC Santa Barbara. Her research examines the Great Depression's immigration policies, focusing on the experiences of Mexican repatriation and the banishment of U.S. citizen children of Mexican descent. She specializes in oral history, Mexican migrations, mass forced removals, and gendered migrations. Welcome, Marla. If Che Rodriguez could stand up, please. Cesar Che Rodriguez is an assistant professor in the Criminal Justice Studies program. He earned his doctorate in sociology from UC Santa Barbara, where he studied the school-to-prison pipeline and the Oscar Grant moment/movement. Generally, his work focuses on race, class, and social movements. This year, he is teaching a course on jails and prisons, as well as Latino youth, crime, and justice. Welcome, Che. Dr. Kathy Shea. Kathy, could you stand up, please? Is she there? Okay. Kathy Shea is also another proud alum of SFSU, having received her master's in nursing here and her EDD from the University of San Francisco. She has worked for over 25 plus years as a clinical nurse at the Stanford Medical Center and has been a lecturer at SFSU since 2008. Her research interests are centered around clinical simulation in nursing education and pediatrics. Welcome, Kathy. Molly Streer. Molly, if you could stand. Molly Streer comes to the Department of Counseling with her degree in counselor education and supervision from the University of Northern Colorado, with emphases in school counseling and a minor in applied statistics and research methods. Molly's research interests include LGBTQIA affirmative school counseling practices, counseling children and adolescents, social justice, and the school climate. Welcome, Molly. Autumn Thorey. Autumn, if you could stand up. Autumn joins the Environmental Studies program with a PhD in geography from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Her research into the politics of sustainable energy transitions focuses on energy efficiency and conservation from an environmental justice perspective. In the fall, she is teaching a course on environmental law and policy. Welcome, Autumn. And lastly, Delara Yarbrough. Delara is also in class and couldn't join us, but let me tell you a little bit about her. Delara joins the criminal justice program with her doctorate from the University of California, San Diego. Her research focuses on gender, race, and criminalized work in the production of marginality. She is particularly interested in how the experiences of sex workers, transgender people, and people experiencing homelessness illuminate the workings of systems that manage poverty. So can please give a round of welcome to Delara. Again, on behalf of the College of Health and Social Sciences, I want to thank you for giving the opportunity to highlight my fabulous faculty. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce my new colleague, Dr. Andrew Harris, the Dean of the College of Liberal and Creative Arts. Dr. Harris.
Thank you, Dean Alvarez. It is my honor to introduce the 15 incoming new faculty in the College of Liberal and Creative Arts today. I had also heard that it was common for deans to have different styles of introduction, maybe introduce a fun fact here or there, but in the interest of time, I have stripped out also all the fun facts, and we can stipulate, and you may take my word for it, that every one of these 15 new faculty is the best in the history of the world. First, and I believe she is in class, Fatima Alawi. Fatima joins our Communication Studies Department as an assistant professor. She received her PhD from the University of Denver, comes to us from Georgetown University most recently, and studies the discourse and rhetoric of the Arab Spring. Welcome, Fatima. Olivia Albiero is also in class, I believe. Olivia joins our Modern Language and Literatures Department as an assistant professor of German. She recently received her doctorate at the University of Washington and writes on narrative, perception, and rupture in contemporary German literature. We welcome Olivia. Ilana Crispy is in class. Ilana joins the School of Art as an assistant professor of ceramics. She earned her MFA at Mills College and has exhibited her work as close as the De Young and as far as Shanghai. Most importantly, she did an arts residency several years ago at the Montalvo Arts Center in Saratoga, where, and this is the main thing, 19 years and 12 days ago, my wife and I were married. We welcome Ilana Crispy. Mark Allen Davis. Mark? All right. Mark joins our School of Theater and Dance as an assistant professor of musical theater and voice. He received his MFA from Smith College, comes to us most recently from Ohio Northern University, and was, I kid you not, an original Broadway cast member of The Lion King. Welcome, Mark. Kathleen de Guzman. Kathleen. Kathleen joins us as an assistant professor of English. Her work brings together Anglophone, Caribbean, and Victorian British literatures. She received her doctorate at Vanderbilt, where she has been teaching since 2015. Welcome, Kathleen. Carolina de Robertas. Carolina is in, oh. Carolina joins us as an assistant professor in the creative writing department. She received her MFA also from Mills College, was a visiting faculty member here at SF State, and has published several novels that have been translated into 17 languages. Welcome, Carolina. Rachel Gross. Is Rachel here? Rachel joins us as an assistant professor holding the John and Marcia Goldman Endowed Chair of American Jewish Studies. She received her doctorate from Princeton University, comes to us from Virginia Tech, and studies American Jewish nostalgia. We welcome Rachel. Ron Haydick. Ron joins us as an associate professor in the political science department, coming to us from Queens College in the City University of New York. He received his doctorate from CUNY and has written extensively on race, ethnicity, immigration, and voting rights. Welcome, Ron. Christopher Koenig. Christopher. Christopher joins us as an assistant professor of communication studies. He received his PhD from UCLA, comes to us from UCSF, and studies the social and communicative dimensions of health and illness. Welcome, Christopher. Martha Lincoln. Martha joins us as an assistant professor of anthropology. She received her doctorate from the City University of New York, comes to us from the UC Berkeley School of Public Health, and works on medical anthropology, public health, and cholera in Vietnam. Welcome, Martha. Blanca Miss. Blanca joins us as an assistant professor of French in the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures. She received her doctorate from UC Berkeley, was a visiting lecturer here at SF State, and studies materialism as critique in the French Enlightenment. Welcome, Blanca. Kim Morrison. Kim joins us as an assistant professor of history. She earned her doctorate at the University of Florida. She comes to us most recently from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst and specializes in nation, race, and gender in Latin America and the African diaspora. Sources report that along the way, she simultaneously met Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez, and it's my honor to say that for a modest contribution to the History Department Scholarship Fund, she will tell you that story. Thank you. Welcome. I wasn't really telling the truth. There's no fee for telling the story, but I believe it to be true. Céline Shimizu. Céline. Céline joined us as a professor of cinema. She received her PhD at Stanford University, comes to us most recently from UC Santa Barbara, and writes on race and sexuality in film. Her own 5 films have been screened around the world, and we welcome Céline Shimizu. Anastasia Smirnova. Anastasia joins us as an assistant professor in the English department. She received her doctorate from The Ohio State University and comes to us most recently from the University of Michigan, and she studies and works in the field of linguistics. Welcome. Nick Susanis. Nick? Nick joins us as an assistant professor in the School of Humanities and Liberal Studies. He received his doctorate from Columbia, where he wrote his dissertation in comic book form on visual thinking in teaching and learning. Later published as the graphic novel titled Unflattening, it was hailed by the New York Times as a philosophical treatise and, quote, a great oddity. Sorry, I peaked too soon. He comes to us most recently from the University of Calgary. Welcome, Nick. Please join us as we welcome you all with pride and with promise. It is my honor to now invite Dean Keith Bowman, College of Science and Engineering, to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. It seems at these events we always go last. So I did want to mention one thing, and that's on behalf of all of us here, is one of the most impressive things this last year has been the work by the search chairs and the chairs who helped us hire all these folks. So how about we give them a round of applause? I'm also obligated now to state that folks in the College of Science and Engineering are also fun. So we know that. So, apparently. So first is Emily Clater. She appears magically. Emily is in class at this moment, or should be in class at this moment. She just completed a postdoc at ETH Zurich at the Institute for Theoretical Studies, following her PhD from Michigan and a bachelor's degree from Columbia. She takes a very broad perspective on her work in theoretical mathematics, with one of her recent publications being titled, What If? Mathematics, Creative Writing, and Play. It describes a workshop co-taught by the author to a class of 6th grade students that explored fractal-inspired poetry and geometry-inspired fiction. Let's welcome Emily. Next is Kim Coble. Kim Coble was most recently a professor at Chicago State University, wherein she was a leader in STEM education research with an emphasis in physics and astronomy. She's a co-author of a series of web-based learning modules entitled The Big Ideas in Cosmology. She has broad collaborations on a number of projects, including ones funded by NASA and the National Science Foundation. She serves on the Astronomy Education Board and Committee on the Status of Minorities in Astronomy of the American Astronomical Society and the Committee on Diversity of the American Association of Physics Teachers. Let's welcome Kim. Yadira Ibarra. She will join us in January when she will bring her expertise in sedimentary geology and the history of our Earth to SF State's Department of Earth and Climate Sciences. She is currently completing postdoctoral research at Stanford, which rounds out her academic preparation that began at Brown University. In addition to her research expertise, she will also bring experience in advancing professional development of students and her strong connections with the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos and Native Americans in Science, SACNAS. Let's welcome Yadira, even in January. Dr. Kristen Jensen joined us this spring. He's a string theorist, and I don't believe he's here. Kristen, are you here? He completed postdoctoral work at the University of Victoria and at the Yang Institute for Theoretical Physics at Stony Brook. It was hard this last spring for me to miss Kristen since his office is across the hallway, and he has a giant couch in there. The number of students sitting and surrounding that couch watching him explain concepts on the drawing board often seem to violate a number of physics principles. So, let's welcome Kristen. Piero Massini will join Earth and Climate Sciences in January. He was here for the orientation. He's coming from postdoctoral research at Rutgers University. He will bring his expertise in autonomous underwater vehicle gliders, or underwater robots, to SF State and the Romberg Tiburon Center. He studies coastal ocean dynamics, wind-driven and buoyancy-driven flows, and also river plume dynamics. Let's welcome Piero when he arrives in January. Dusty Ross. He's conducted theoretical mathematics postdoctoral research at the University of Michigan, where he had a National Science Foundation postdoctoral fellowship, which is titled Geometry and Physics Related to Virtual Curve Counting. He will continue that work here at SF State. His research is in algebraic geometry. He has also conducted work and taught at Peking University and the University of Costa Rica. Let's welcome Dusty. The next person, I know he's here, so he has to stand up. So Gaurav Suri. Gaurav began his academic studies in mathematics and computer science at Purdue University and later received an MBA at UCLA. He followed that with a career in management consulting, including work for Deloitte Consulting. He's followed that up with his PhD in psychology at Stanford, and now he's one of our faculty here. He's going to continue that work, which involves computational models that investigate how prior behavior influences motivated behavior and decisions. Welcome, Gaurav. Krista Vixa. She not only originates from our northern neighbor, Canada, she has conducted research in Australia and most recently Switzerland. Her work is focused in analytical chemistry, wherein she finds new ways to use mass spectrometry as a forensic tool. She enjoys taking apart mass specs and changing their functionality so that they demonstrate new capabilities. I mentioned to Provost Rosser that she essentially does hot rod work on mass specs. She will bring both her detective expertise and tool set to SF State classrooms and research laboratories. Let's welcome Krista. Jenna Wong is joining our faculty in civil engineering. She most recently was conducting a postdoc at Lawrence Berkeley Labs, but she's already familiar to our students since she has served as a lecturer the last several years. Her work has been focused on topics that include associated with isolating structures from earthquakes and other seismic disturbances. She has taught SF State's Intro to Engineering, Statics, Engineering Communications, and Principles of Earthquake Engineering, and a number of engineering students came up to me and said, we made a great decision. She also has a special connection to SF State since both of her parents were students here. Let's welcome Jenna. Huishang Xu, who has to stand? I see him there. Is a new associate professor in physics and astronomy with interest in nanotechnology, material science, and biomedical applications. He joins us from St. John's University, where he had established a strong research record as a faculty member, including being a recipient of a National Science Foundation Career Award. He has received awards for his teaching, and like all of our new colleagues, he possesses incredible energy and passion for his work with students. Part of that passion he directed towards advising the Society of Physics student chapter at St. John's, which was recognized as an outstanding chapter 3 times while he served as advisor. Welcome, Huishang. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean Bauman. I'd like to now invite our Vice President of the CFA chapter in San Francisco State, Catherine Powell, to give us an update.
Thank you, Troy, President Wong, Provost Rosser, and all the faculty and staff who contributed to organizing today's event. Colleagues and friends, welcome back. As the Vice President of the San Francisco chapter of the California Faculty Association, I also extend a warm welcome to our new faculty. San Francisco State has a long, proud history of fighting for social and racial justice on campus and also in the communities of the Bay Area. You will find that your San Francisco State colleagues are talented, dedicated, and hardworking. They are committed to their teaching, research, and to their students. If you'd like another chance to get to know some of your fellow faculty, please join us for a CFA Welcome Back Social on September 8th. This semester, we returned to classes with reason to feel hopeful. Last year, we saw how a determined faculty could work together in a protracted and hard-fought contract campaign that resulted in much-needed improvements in salary. Yeah. Our Fight for Five campaign would not have been possible without the solidarity and activism of CFA members. I thank all of you for your great work. But believe it or not, we will return to the bargaining table next summer to negotiate the entire contract. This will include salary, but also workload issues, pension contributions, and health benefits. The CFA bargaining team needs to know the priorities of our union members. To begin these conversations, we will have a membership meeting on September 14th. And later in the semester, CFA will also distribute faculty surveys to get your input. So in the coming year, we will continue to focus on defending academic freedom, faculty rights, and shared governance. We will advocate for further increase in tenure density throughout the CSU and for full integration of lecturers in their departments and colleges. During this electoral season, CFA will also continue to advocate strongly in Sacramento for policies and state funding to ensure that students, present and future, have access to affordable, quality public higher education they deserve. Specifically, we'll be asking faculty to phone bank and walk precincts in support of Proposition 55. This will bring $250 million into the annual funding of the CSU. CFA leaders and activists have been engaged in an ongoing discussion about our union's role in social and racial justice at this critical moment of our nation's history. Last year, our chapter passed a resolution in support of Black Lives Matter. This past spring, CFA statewide also passed a resolution So this past spring, the CFA statewide passed a resolution committing to anti-racist and social justice transformation. During the next 18 months, we will advance this by reviewing our union's politics, practices, and culture. The goal is to implement our social and racial justice values in all aspects of our union, both at the chapter level and the statewide level. I hope that you will join me in this very important work. So in closing, I would like to ask members of the CFA Executive Board, the Faculty Rights Committee, and department representatives to stand and be recognized for your services to the faculty. Thank you for all you do, and I look forward to working with all of you as we move forward. If you have any questions, you can come out and speak to us at the table out front. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. Colleagues, I'd like to once again begin by extending a warm welcome to all of our new faculty, all 55 of them, even though all 55 of them are not here right now. To our new colleagues, I want you to know that San Francisco State is an outstanding institution with a steadfast commitment to academic integrity and innovation both in teaching and scholarship. San Francisco State is also deeply connected to the core values of social justice, equity, and diversity. As a community, we are resilient and courageous, tackling the challenges that come our way straight on. As many of us here sitting in this room know, it's not always easy, but it is always necessary. I would argue that it is precisely this courage and resiliency in the face of challenge that has come to define much of who we are as an institution. Resiliency and courage, one might say, are woven into the very fabric of San Francisco State. As new members of this community, you will immediately sense engagement at every level of academic life, not only here on campus, but in local communities and those extended communities as well. Belief in a common core is what holds this community together through good times and through bad times. That common purpose is a commitment to serve our students to the best of our ability. As you settle into your professional lives here at San Francisco State, I encourage and actually urge all of you to get involved in our campus culture. Venture out beyond your departments when time and energy permit. It is precisely these connections across networks that strengthens community and enriches our lives both professionally and personally. I think you will immediately discover that this campus is full of extraordinary people doing extraordinary things, and I suspect that you're here because we think you're going to do extraordinary things as well. We all look forward to getting to know you in the coming days, weeks, and years ahead. As we celebrate new beginnings with new colleagues, I would like to also take this opportunity to acknowledge the contributions that Provost Rosser has made to our campus over the past 7 years, and thank her for her service to this institution. Her commitment to scholarly excellence and advocacy for women in science will be among the many things that she is most remembered by. On behalf of the Academic Senate, we wish her all the best in her new position at the Chancellor's Office. As chair of the Academic Senate, I speak on behalf of all of your elected representatives in saying that we are, as always, committed to working collaboratively, openly, and cooperatively with the administration to ensure that San Francisco State continues to be a shining star that represents accessible, high-quality, affordable education, a place where our students are at the center of our work and our faculty are supported. It has certainly been a long time since any academic senate chair has stood at this podium and not acknowledged the challenges that we face. It would seem challenging circumstances confronting CSU in general has become the new landscape we all must adjust to. I firmly believe that by working together and engaging in productive and respectful dialogue, as we begin to, as well as being open to inevitable change, we will adapt so that we can continue to thrive as a strong institution. Last year, I stood here and I outlined a vision, as it were, for our university community, a vision that called upon each and every one of us to engage in building stronger community. I can say without hesitation, the campus did indeed engage last year with vigor, enough to make some headlines in many cases. But important questions of equity on campus and our mission were raised and brought to the fore. We began to question what it is we stand for and who it is that we represent. Existentially, we asked ourselves, what type of institution are we and who do we want to be? In other words, San Francisco State was really just being San Francisco State. That said, as healthy as exploration of existential questions can be, it can also result in dividing people and leaving people feeling not only hurt and alienated, but also convinced that they are the only ones on the right side of a so-called narrative. Let me suggest, as a scholar of narrative, that there is no such thing as the right side of a narrative. There's only another side. Our job this year as we continue to engage will be to unify the divided and to work together so that we can all stand together again as a campus, confident that we are living up to our mission. We have to dig deep and tap into our sense of courage and resiliency, of equity and community, and accept that there is validity in other sides of the same narrative. In many cases, the task will be to find common ground and build upon it. And this task is totally doable. Now, to be sure, it is because of the raw dialogue into which we were all drawn last year, faculty, staff, administration, students alike, we have begun the process of enacting positive change on campus this year. Change that reflects the shifting landscape of our campus community and where it fits into the larger CSU community, as well as where CSU fits into the larger California community. Last year, one of the ways in which the Senate worked collaboratively and successfully with administration and students to facilitate a positive outcome to the campus demand for more transparency on how university resources are allocated was to pass a strong Senate resolution on budget transparency. The resolution has resulted in the reactivation of the budget oversight function of the Strategic Issues Committee, which is a standing committee in the Academic Senate. This fall, we will revise our Senate bylaws to reflect the inclusivity of the committee. That is, that we will require representation from each college, a staff member, as well as an ASI member. In addition, as the only standing committee that does not have an ex officio member, the Vice President of Administration and Finance will become the ex officio member of the Strategic Issues Committee. Vice President Ron Cortez has worked diligently with the Senate for the past 2 years, at least, to provide more transparency in the budget process and more consultation at earlier stages. This new repurposing of the Strategic Issues Committee will codify the consultative process in the shared governance structure, and we commend Vice President Cortez and the President's Cabinet for enthusiastically supporting this layer of budgetary consultation. Thank you. Building on this positive example of shared governance at work, I would like to take the next few minutes to report on what we accomplished last year on behalf of faculty and staff. And then I will close with briefly outlining what this year's agenda looks like. Last year, the Executive Committee of the Academic Senate set an agenda aimed at addressing what is widely perceived to be low morale on campus, resulting from years of financial strangulation, a condition that magnified inequity and stagnation. Sounds kind of ugly. The top 3 priorities on last year's agenda were: 1, the opening of a new university club to replace the one that was closed when the new library was built; 2, reinvestment in resources dedicated to supporting the professional development of teaching and scholarship for faculty here on campus; and 3, a closer look at and revision of the retention, tenure, and promotion policy, arguably one of the most important policies affecting the lives of faculty here on campus. I'd like to take the opportunity to give you an update on our progress on those 3 items. Let me begin by giving you an update on the University Club, the most fun one, actually. Well, no, it's all fun. It's all good. Lack of informal and relaxed environment where faculty and staff and administration can interact on a social level for so many years has, in my opinion, contributed greatly to the low morale on campus. Collegial interaction, as we all know, is at the heart of innovation, and it is at the heart of a healthy community. Unfortunately, not being a general contractor in an enormous bureaucratic machine, I was a little naive last fall when I predicted we'd be popping champagne in 2016. I was also appropriately mocked, and I can actually report that I wasn't that far off in bureaucratic terms. In a truly collaborative effort between administration and academic senate, we are, I am told, looking at a likely May 17 opening. Very exciting. We have a beautiful design, a wonderful space, a funding model, an advisory board, and a dedicated group of people working hard to make this happen for our campus community. In addition to the Senate Steering Committee for the University Club, this project could not be moving forward without the enthusiastic support of the president, a committed crew of people from capital development, as well as physical planning and development, in particular Tom Lilini, Jill Anthus, and Simon Lamb, and the absolutely extraordinary support on every level from the University Corporation, in particular the executive director, Jason Porth, and University UCorp's administrative analyst, Constant Cavalis. Thank you. Now for the sales pitch. Obviously, the success of the University Club will be directly tied to the strength of the membership base. Over the next several months, the steering committee from the Senate will be reaching out to faculty, staff, and administrators with information on exciting programming that we have planned, as well as how you can become a member. To track the progress on the project, we will also be making updates to our Senate website. I have a second bit of exciting news I'd like to share with you, yet another example of shared governance at its best. In a collaborative effort between Academic Senate, Faculty Affairs, and Academic Technology, a plan to restructure the Center for Teaching and Faculty Development into a Teaching and Learning Commons, which we've been calling the TLC, has taken shape. The new TLC will be housed under the umbrella of Academic Technology, a unit that has the infrastructure to fully support the TLC and resources that the TLC can benefit from. This reinvestment in faculty development responds to the initiatives outlined in the San Francisco State Strategic Plan. These initiatives call for strengthening the quality of teaching curricula and courses on campus, as well as the development of space for a master's teachers program, and a place where we can encourage more interaction among faculty and provide opportunities for more peer-to-peer networking. This new Teaching and Learning Commons will be a faculty-driven enterprise, and will offer programming to enhance the professional development of faculty here on campus. With the support of Academic Affairs, the new Teaching and Learning Commons will have a full-time faculty director. This year, we have an outstanding team of faculty to get the TLC off the ground. The interim co-directors are Professor Amy Kilgard, Professor Julia Lewis, and we have Professor Kurt Daw as the AT liaison. This team will work with an advisory committee to develop a roadmap and a set of recommendations for the new TLC with a target opening for fall 2017. Finally, while we passed and revised several important policies and resolutions last year, you can go to the Senate website and look under last year's policies and resolutions. The most consequential Senate policy, one of the most consequential Senate policies to faculty on this campus is the retention, tenure, and promotion policy. Through the hard work and dedication of the Faculty Affairs Committee and the collaborative effort from the Senate as a whole, revisions were made to the RTP policy that, one, clarify sections that were previously ambiguous, highlight the importance of clearly specified departmental criteria for promotion, tenure, and retention, and three, clearly and unambiguously underscore that the only criteria by which faculty can be evaluated are criteria outlined in the collective bargaining agreement, the Senate retention, tenure, and promotion policy, and individual departmental criteria which are mandated to be in compliance with the CBA and Senate policy. I encourage all faculty to consult these three sources of RTP criteria regularly. For those departments still in the process of revising their RTP criteria, you want to make sure that you are in compliance with the revised RTP Senate policy and the CBA. I'd like to add that in addition to faculty affairs, I want to remind all of you that Senate office should be considered an important resource for clarification on any policy issues surrounding retention, tenure, and promotion, or any policy whatsoever. We are quite literally here to serve you. This year, the Senate will continue to champion causes important to our campus and support programming to boost campus morale. We will continue to work hard to ensure that we have a new university club to celebrate at the end of the year, a new faculty resource up and running next fall, and a more active and consultative role in the resource allocation process here on campus through the Strategic Issues Committee. We will continue to work on policy and resolutions that improve the working environment for faculty and staff here on campus, and to combat bullying and promote respectful collegial discourse as well. We will devote time to evaluating where we are as a campus in terms of implementing the strategic bold initiatives that were set out by the strategic plan, and then we will continue to work with administration to move that plan forward toward implementation. We will also continue to work on the accessibility and curb appeal of the Senate office through improved website presence, helpful and timely response to faculty and staff needs and inquiries, and increased outreach to colleges. And as always, there's plenty of candy in the office, so drop by and just say hi. We have a great view. It's awesome. Just come up to the 5th floor. As I begin to wind down, I want to tell you a little story and loop back around to where we started: community engagement and existential questions. I tell this story not to point fingers or to suggest that we're a broken community, because we're not, but rather to shine light on where we as a campus can and should be doing better. Last month, I was at an all-day retreat with colleagues from across campus, and we were talking about the role of humor in the workplace. And we were asked to think of a painful time or a painful experience that happened either at work or personally, and whether we can now laugh about it. 3 things struck me as the groups began to report in after the exercise. 1, most of us could report at least one example of being bullied in the workplace as a painful experience. 2, the bullying cut across gender, age, ethnicity, rank, and union affiliation. And 3, it was really hard to laugh about it regardless of when it happened. The breadth and depth of the problem struck me because I know this campus to be filled with generous and compassionate individuals who devote their lives to making positive differences in the lives of our students, as well as our local communities, and who devote themselves to making San Francisco State a place we can be proud of. At the same time, I don't think we're always treating each other with the same generosity of heart that we treat our students. As we celebrate the diversity on this campus, let's also acknowledge that we don't approach the same set of circumstances in the same way. Given that, I'm wondering if we can't extend that same compassion and generosity we give to our students to those with whom we work, especially when the discussions are difficult. I'm wondering if our existential questions of who we want to be cannot include how we want to treat people and how we want to be treated. I challenge all of us this year to make this not just a year about engaging, but about engaging with benevolence. A fellow Senate chair in the CSU system at one of our statewide meetings said last year, when describing a particularly volatile situation on her campus, she said, quote, "The thing is, we're really classy as a group. We treat each other with respect, and we take pride in our collegial behavior." It struck me enough to actually write it down. That is a quote. I'd like us to be able to say, with the same confidence, that we take pride in our collegial behavior as well. The same difficult issues that confronted us last year are still with us. The summer did not wipe them away. We have a choice, however, in how we approach these issues and challenges this year. I'm hoping that as we engage in these difficult conversations about identity and justice and equity, that we try and imagine the circumstances that have led those who sit across from us at the table to their own particular perspectives. That we engage in these difficult discussions with open mind and open heart. We have so much to be proud of and so much to look forward to this year. Let's continue to strive to be our very best. Onward and thank you. I'd like to now invite President Wong up to the podium.
That one will be tough to follow. Thank you, Troy. Dr. Carlton, what a terrific comment about how to face the coming year, if not the next 10 years. I also want to welcome all of the new faculty, staff, and administrators who have come to San Francisco State University. Your presence clearly signals that this university continues to excel and to improve. And each of you who is new, and each of us who are moderately new, and many of our colleagues who have been here for a while, each represents a new opportunity for your work and our students, which I know will be quite effective and successful. And if I could ad lib, we will also have more fun. I also want to thank Dr. Sue Rosser for her work as the provost here at San Francisco State. The CSU system gains a professional with the insight and skills to move 23 campuses forward. As you know, there are many new CSU presidents, 5 this year, and there are 11 new provosts. They all will benefit from her contributions. Dr. Rosser has been a joy to work with, a good friend, and the source of many book, restaurant, movie, and wine recommendations. Good luck, Sue. The campus should know that her work with me will have little, if any, connection to the provost's office. We do have the ability and her skills to lead the system in sustainability issues and the development of extraordinary talent in the sciences, particularly among women and students of color. We will pave the way forward. This is the start of my 5th year. I'm still married to and in love with the same person who came with me back in 2012 and with who I've been near since 1966. We have more grandchildren, soon to be number 8 on the way, which is a very good Chinese number. And our expectations and excitement for San Francisco State and this great city remains undiminished and untarnished. As you've heard, the challenges will remain strong. They may even be more complex and difficult, but that is what makes life in the university so addicting. And that is why I am so enamored by Wilbur Wright's comment, "No bird soars in a calm." In case you don't know, it is the opening to David McCullough's wonderful book on the Wright brothers. Higher education in the U.S. will face many new challenges and an activism long dormant. And our campus is no exception, except for the fact that our history of activism has not been dormant. Today's students, rightfully so, have asked that their university education be relevant, meaningful, and affordable. I would add that with you, this education should be challenging, value-driven, and above all, provocative. I refer everyone to our strategic plan's dependence on critical values, the critical values that motivate this campus. So now, let me address 4 points that will be my focus for this coming year. And while they may appear simple and achievable, each of them represents a significant shift, both in practice, direction, motivation, and institutional culture. They are not simple. But this campus, I am confident, can make significant inroads both in quality and in effect. So, number one, campus safety remains job number one. Students, faculty, staff, visitors, the public, whomever steps on our 3 sites should not do so with fear or angst. While we cannot guarantee a 100% fear-free campus, we will do our best to prevent and mitigate this through improved practices, more training, and more awareness. I've asked Vice President Hong and the Cabinet to revise a number of policies and practices, including, for example, our time, place, and manner policies and the way in which this campus schedules space. We will create a new campus awareness group to work with and alongside our Emergency Operations Center. We will also augment staff training opportunities, and you will hear more of this as we move into the semester. And please remember, campus safety is all our responsibility. Goal number 2, task number 2. The Student Success Graduation Initiative, implemented by Chancellor White in response to legislative priorities connected to our budget appropriation, it will engulf all 23 campuses of the CSU. You will know it as the SSGI. The SSGI clearly signals not only a new emphasis on academic progress and graduation, but the linkage of these factors to budget considerations is most important. I've asked Interim Provost Dr. Summit and the Cabinet to make this a priority within their respective units. We are being held to multi-year goals and standards, and this is quite new to the CSU budgeting experience. This means we need to review, discuss, and consider strategies, new and old, in the light of these new obligations. The data that chairs, deans, AVPs, and the president, and all of you will review, will really dictate and show how we approach the best strategies and interventions for us. This will not be easy, but I am convinced that it is doable. Item number 3, the B word. For those of you that are new, I tried to spend my first 4 years not saying that word in my opening comments, also known as the budget. Interim Provost Summit and Mr. Cortez have been meeting with the academic deans and other vice presidents on how we are restructuring and rebenching the budget allocations to the 6 academic colleges. And as you saw in Mr. Cortez's earlier PowerPoint slide, we have made every effort to make whole the budgets of all 6 colleges. And that's one way, maybe a president's way, of saying that those budgets are, in some, if not most cases, getting more money. And while also expecting more local responsibility and accountability, I have asked Admin and Finance and Academic Affairs to achieve a new level of transparency and accountability. This means new habits, new processes, more and higher responsibility. My expectation is that this will be our first year with the model. And you're probably all thinking, okay, what's the ulterior motive? I do not believe we could meet our SSGI obligations under the old budgeting model. Therefore, we have to change. We also cannot respond effectively to the evolution of our campus from a commuter campus to a residential campus. Therefore, we must change. I also believe we could not think of majors, minors, and general education and the full spectrum of the intellectual experience of our students and faculty under the old model in light of these new challenges. Therefore, we must change. You can't do the same thing over and over and expect different results. And I'm sorry, another piece of Midwestern folklore. And I'm really pleased to see that there are 3 more Michiganders joining us. In the fall of 2015, I actually did ask Mr. Cortez to start modeling a new budget process that met a number of expectations both of us thought most important to improve the process and ultimately the results. His team finished that modeling this summer and met my expectations to implement a new model during fall 2016. And there is no better day than today to step forward. To support this effort, as you heard, the Strategic Initiatives Committee of the Academic Senate will take up this new model and essentially ask themselves, how might this model, plus any improvements, help us redesign and improve the student experience for the academic years 2017-18, 2018-19, and 2019-2020. I expect us to get better each year, and I sincerely believe that an open, collaborative process within the Academic Senate will not only alleviate long-standing tensions, our ability to soar in the wind will also occur. My 4th goal this year, decision structures and the collaborative process. I have to tell you that I have not been satisfied with the collaborative and decision structures, most notably within the president's domain. The highly centralized responsibilities lend themselves to too much singular authority, too many silos, without the benefit of input from critical audiences. So I've challenged myself to review and experiment with new forms. I will have restructured how the VPs meet and confer, how the cabinet will meet and confer, how I will interact one-on-one with my direct reports, and I've chosen to create 2 new groups. One I mentioned just a moment ago, a campus awareness group comprised of 10 critical individuals to improve our sense of today and tomorrow. I am also forming a group of 40, not a very creative title. And we're going to meet twice a semester, and our focus will be such topics as the health, morale, effectiveness, the operations, and the problems before the campus. We will identify individuals from student, staff, and faculty leadership, as well as representatives from the 4 cabinet areas. And I expect that these individuals, who because of their daily responsibilities, will offer a deeper, broader, and more detailed sense of this great university. And I will expect this group to deepen the administrative perspective of this institution so that we never find ourselves experience thin. Well, all of us will benefit from this new perspective across campus. I look forward to improving our decision-making through the advice and input this group will add. And I am working on the charge to this group and will identify membership and expectations as soon as possible. My thanks to the Cabinet, and in particular to my Chief of Staff, Allison Saunders, for pushing me to think better about this new step. In closing, this is part of the piece when I look away from my notes and Allison starts worrying. In the audience today is Netta Nobari. And Netta, would you stand up and wave? Where are you? As many of you have heard, her signature gift to the university will mean that we will lead the pack in the formation and the scholarship of the Iranian diaspora throughout the world and in the United States. It will be a signature program, and without her generosity, it would never have happened. Thank you, Netta. I also want to take a moment and share with you something that's really pretty interesting and successful for all of us, because the number represents what it means to have a great team and doing something so significant for students and faculty, the staff, and the university. This past year on June 30th, we booked $22,500,000 in fundraising for academic year 15-16. It is the university record for fundraising in the history of the institution. And it is significant because it represents a sense of confidence that our donors and our audiences have of where we're going and the high quality that will define that trip. And so I want to congratulate Robert and his staff, the deans, I mean, it really does take a team to do that, and it really is a signature experience for the campus. So in closing, I still hold strongly to the conviction that our strategic plan and its strategic vision supports our most deeply held values. A university education must guide students and faculty to own their own mind, to make a difference to the people that matter most to them, and to lead a meaningful life. I know of no better university on this planet that will achieve this than San Francisco State University. Thank you all.